Shake, shake, shake. There's no priming. There's no sanding before you start. You just jump in and paint. I'm using gray mist, which is a beautiful color, and I'm using a sample so you can see how far a sample goes, because it goes a lot farther than you think it's going to. We don't use fancy brushes. Just gonna jump right in and put the paint on. First coat, your goal is to put the paint on and not have a lot of drips. You just wanna cover, but it's not gonna be the last coat, so don't worry about being real careful. I'm just putting it on. I'm gonna move the drawer here so you can see the base of the table. And I'm not a clean, neat painter because I find that if I take the time to be clean and neat, I never get everything done. And the fun of it is finishing it and seeing what you've rethunk. See how I use the paint on the table? I'm so into recycling. Okay, so it doesn't even have to be full coverage on this first coat. You just want to get it on there. Okay. It's not very exciting, you can't see the back. The next step we're going to do is turn a fan on. You want a fan turned on so the paint will dry. The longest part is going to be the dry time. If you don't have a fan, if you've got a fan on, it can be done in a jiffy. I don't have to paint on the inside because my drawer is going to go in there, and you want to put the least amount of paint possible on the piece because you're adding moisture and you want it to dry quick. The only time I really kind of pay attention to brush strokes, because they go away with the second coat, is on the top. And I get the paint on the top and then go side to side so that you've got all one direction with your brush strokes. And we are done with the first coat. Now we just need it to dry so we can start our second coat. All right, first coat's dry. It's a little bit wet on top, but I'm gonna go ahead and start on the bottom and work up, which is what I usually do when I start a piece anyway, so that you can move it around with the top. If you leave the top for last, you can hold on to it and move your piece around. So this we want to be our last coat. So I'm going to be a little bit more careful on this coat. Load your paintbrush with a little bit more paint. Look, I'm telling you this and I'm doing the back first. Okay, let's do the front. Load your paintbrush with a little bit more paint and be careful. Don't go over and over and over it. The paint covers really, really well. If there's a spot you're not liking, just leave it alone and come back to it. If you go over and over and over it till you get it perfect, you're going to re-wet the paint and pull that first coat off. It's a whole lot easier to come back in if there's a little spot that's bothering you when you're done and touch that up. I'm taking a little bit more time on the second coat because I want it to be my last coat. And the drawer. See how pretty that is? Okay. After this, we get to distress, which is my favorite part. See, I'm putting a little bit more paint on this time, and I'm not going over and over and over it. And when it dries, it'll be really, really pretty. This paint has some sealer in it. We don't wax. We're gonna glaze. That'll be on a different piece. But you can paint and be done. There's no waxing. Nothing has to happen on top of the paint in order for it to be beautiful. And remember when you're painting that you're gonna distress. So it doesn't have to be perfect as far as just that goes either, because you're gonna run the sander over it. So lower your standards. Don't do it if you're anal. And we're just about done with the second coat. I usually just slap the paint on top and then smooth it all out, because then I don't have to keep dipping over and over again. And we're almost done. Keep that brush strokes the same direction you had them on the first coat when you're doing the top. And we're done. Second coat ready to dry so we can distress.